Welcome to Podnutz Daily, episode number 303. The show where computer repair techs come on and they share their knowledge with you guys. And if you are a computer repair tech yourself, hopefully you get something out of it and you can use the information. It's a good time. Hope you guys enjoy it. And let me introduce our tech for today. Joe Aguiar from jaguiar.com. That's A-G-U-I-A-R. What's up, Joe?
That is correct. Hey, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I love the show, watch it all the time, and I'm glad I'm able to throw my 2 cents worth in.
Oh, cool. I hope you have more than two. I'm just kidding. No, from the pre-show, I know you're a prepared man, so I'm not worried at all. But tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm one of the old guys, I guess. I've been doing computers since the early '80s here, and actually started with my big brother, who did masters in computer science in the '70s. So that'll give you a little bit of a clue what I got to experience. Got to start internet with punch cards and dumb terminals.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
Back in the old days. It's
good. Hey, you have the breadth of knowledge then.
Yes, exactly. So started off with DOS and BBSs. That's before the internet, everybody. There was actually dial-up and bulletin board systems, and there was no graphics.
I remember them.
Absolutely.
You could download graphics from the BBSs.
Absolutely. Took a while at 1400 baud.
That's true.
But so yeah, I guess I've been doing IT for about 24 years now, and been doing everything from small companies all the way to the big corporate groups. Done everything from Novell to Microsoft, of course. Some AS400s, but most of the things I'm doing now is I'm an IT manager at a 100-person shop, so I pretty much take care of everything from the PCs, printers, servers, laptops, voice over IP systems, websites. So a lot of hats, unfortunately.
Wow, you even do the websites too.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy sometimes, but it's fun. I like a challenge, and recently I started. Past year ago or so, I started learning Linux and starting to migrate my life over to that. So
really?
That's been an interesting challenge. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Why do you are deciding to do that?
Well, I get tired of Microsoft dictating everything to the world, and even though I have to work in a Microsoft world, and let's face it, most of us in tech are, thankful for Microsoft, because if it wasn't for their breaking and having issues and incompatibilities, we wouldn't have a job. So, but I like to learn new things, and one of the things that really bothers me about the closed source community, the Microsofts, the Apples, and everything else, is that you have really no idea what they've embedded in there. And not doing anything on conspiracies and stuff, but you just have no idea what they've put in their systems and what you're putting on your system. And being a security guy, which is really what I am at heart, I like knowing that I can trust the code, that I could see the code at any time, and as well as the fact that it's free. It's an open source platform. And so you're actually part of the community. And if you can program or test or anything else like that, everyone grouped together makes it a better place to be.
Huh. That's cool. There's a couple things about it that sound appealing to you. What do you do any programming or coding?
I do a little bit of coding. Most of the coding I'm doing is all either web-based or app-based, but most of the programming I used to do, actually, that's what I went to school originally for. And I did programming back in the Visual Basic and Visual C++ and those kind of things. And it wasn't me. You have to be a certain personality to be a programmer. And as I said, my oldest brother, that's what he does, and has been contracting and doing that for his entire life. I don't do it. I just don't do it. So
I'm like you. I would love to be able to do it and have the ability to sit down and just knock out project after project, but it's not for me either. I want to get that end result though. I have an idea and I want to program for it, and I wish I could do it myself, but can't do
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things to do.
What a 100-man shop? What does the shop do? Is a tech place or?
No, believe it or not, it is an automotive dealership.
Okay.
And before I came along, they had no IT person. So just to give you an idea of how I walked into the place, they had maybe 10 computers, and they were all either on the finance person's or the manager's desks, and that was it. And everyone else had dumb terminals sitting on their desks. And so throughout the years that I've been there, within the first year, I had to basically, everyone got, installed on, at that time, Windows XP, and slowly brought into the fold and slowly taught and, cleaning up the viruses that were plaguing the systems. I mean, they had no antivirus running on there. They ran on a system that had no firewall, which means they basically were running around the internet completely unprotected. And as you guys know, that's not a good thing to do. So.
It wasn't like 20 computers all wired into like a Linksys router somewhere or something? That basically what yeah. I've been at those places. I know what you're talking about.
The server room was an absolute nightmare of cabling, everything from old coax cables that they had back in the old dumb terminal days, and it took about 2 years to finally get that place under control, but it's running well, and now we're doing the migration over to Windows 7 slowly.
Oh wow, how's that going?
Slow at first, just because the way as anyone knows in the car industry, the economy isn't the best with that, and well, I guess in economies in general. And so we're slowly doing it. That's actually one of the things I'm going to talk about at the end. That if you have a place that if I'm talking with someone there that does the same kind of thing where you're maintaining, a 10-person, 20-person, 100-person shop, and you want to try to save money wherever you can, one of the things I'm going to talk about here is how to actually do that. And you can move up to Windows 7 and not replace your machines.
Cool. Well, that'll definitely
save that
save
for
money.
the end.
All right, good. All right, well, let her rip. What do you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, before I begin, I'd like to let everyone know that the links that I'm going to talk about during the show here are all on I went ahead and made a special link on my personal website. And that website is jaguar.com, as you said before. And on here, this is, like I said, this is just a personal website that I built. But on here, I have a tools section. And so everything I'm going to talk about today is, we'll start from top to bottom here, but everything I'm going to talk about today is going to be on the website. So people, you don't have to worry about frantically writing down everything and, putting up Notepad or scribbling something on a piece of paper and not understanding what I'm saying. Everything is going to be on the website.
Is Joe prepared or what, guys? This is an example to follow, just so you know. Thank you for doing that, Joe.
Well, I've seen it enough times that I want to go ahead and I want to make it as easy as possible for people. And a lot of people have told me that I've got that training capability, so here we are.
Thank you that's very considerate.
Oh, no problem at all. Well, let's see. So the first thing I would like to talk about is, actually, I want to talk about tools that's going to make your life easier and save time and effort, as well as doing things like restoring data and improving your images to your customers or your bosses even. That's always a really good thing. And by the way, most every single thing that I'm going to be talking about is absolutely free. Nice. So you don't have to worry about having an IT budget and, spending a lot of money or anything else like that. So I'm really, really conscious about the bottom line on this.
Awesome.
So the first tool I'm going to start off with is one that I use several times a week. And it allows you to image your drives for quick restore. It's something called Clonezilla. And I don't know if, everyone here has heard about it or not, so I'm just going to go ahead and I just put the website up there so you can actually see how to get there.
I know. Joe, you're taking the fun out of this for me. I'm supposed to press all those buttons. I could just sit back and watch. This is great.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. I try to make it easy here. So.
Okay, good. All right, watch Joe's feed. I'm just sitting back here. Okay, go ahead.
That's right.
Clonezilla.
Well, Clonezilla is used to back up and restore an image of any machine. I don't care if it's Windows, Linux, even a server. It doesn't matter. It's a great tool for imaging a drive, a partition. You can restore an entire image in 15 minutes. Now, to burn an image, it could take an hour to 2 hours, depending on if you're talking about an 80 gig drive or a 250 gig drive. But no matter what the operating system is, it can restore it and bring you back up to life. The beauty of this is let's say you have a customer, client or whatever, and you have an image sitting out there and you've just stored it away. They do regular backups of their Excel spreadsheets or Word documents or whatever. And all of a sudden their drive corrupts, it dies, and you need to replace it really quick. You could just slap that image back on there. All the programs, all the operating systems, all their settings, everything was the way it was when you burned the image.
Right.
And then you just got to restore your data. It's a great way and a quick way to make you shine and make you look really, really good. The beauty of this is that you can not only restore back in 15 minutes, but I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought on this. You need to be really careful about something. So here's a little tip from someone who's learned the hard way. Make sure that if you're going from machine to machine, if you're staying on the same machine, you're fine. But if you're going from machine to a different machine, make sure it's on the same 32-bit platform and not going from a 32-bit to a 64-bit operating or processor. Wasted a lot of hours trying to figure out why this wasn't working, and light bulb finally went off of my head.
It was blue screening when you tried to boot?
It'll go through halfway, and then it'll finally, it won't blue screen, but the Clonezilla is built on Debian, I believe, Linux. And so it doesn't blue screen. It's all text-based, but very easy to use, by the way. Don't be intimidated by that. But it actually will fail once it tries to do the image restore, because it knows when it starts to boot back up again. I said that incorrectly. The image restore will finish, but when you try to boot it back up again, it will fail because it's like
the hardware is different.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's like taking a drive out of one machine that has like a Windows installation and installing it on another machine with different hardware.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So, and also another thing is be careful that when you're restoring to a like drive size or bigger, and not trying to go from a 250 gig to an 80 gig drive.
Right.
That's also not going to work either. But that's, like I said, things that you learn the hard way throughout life. So,
nice.
Speaking of that, we mentioned the word hard drive repair, and many of us have come across a problem where your drive just dies or it gets corrupted. Well, one of the things that I have found is a program. It's a second one here on the list, and it's called SpinRite. I highly, highly recommend SpinRite. I've used the Seagate, tools and the Western Digital tools that come with some drives, and they're fine. Not knocking them, but SpinRite has been the one thing that has saved me time and time and time again. I can only think of 2 times ever in the entire time that I've had SpinRite that it hasn't been able to restore the drive, and it was because of a drive failure. Can't do anything about a hardware failure, but if there's actually some data that got corrupted and the drive will not boot up, SpinRite has proven to me over and over again that it works.
And now do you continue to use that drive after SpinRite does its job?
Personally, my personal opinion, you can. I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
I do it to be able to get the data off of there and be able to put the person on a new drive, and then I take that drive and maybe I use it for testing operating systems or something like that. But to me, once you have a failure, unless it was something like a power outage that just corrupted Windows and I reformat and I'm fine, then we're okay. If it's an older drive, I don't bother taking that risk. I mean, drives are so cheap nowadays; it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, we've been back and forth on SpinRite. The only criticism of it is because even Scott Moulton from My Hard Drive Died. Have you listened to that show?
No, I saw that one, but that's one of the shows I want to catch up on.
Yeah, he's actually tried to contact Steve Gibson because it's a great program, but the only criticism of it is, at least from him and others, is it restores everything to the faulty drive. There's no option to pull the data off and put it on a good drive. So you're like, you got a drive that crashed, and now you're just trying to repair that drive and recover the data back to the crashed drive. And though it does a good job of recovery, it tries to put it back on to a messed up drive. We'll see if he ever changes that in the future. But yeah, it has worked some miracles too, even in my shop, that program.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you knew about that one here. That was something that I've listened to their podcast for many years for security. It's a security related podcast, so it may
Security
not be for
Now
everybody.
On Twitch.
Yeah. Yep. That's actually one of the ones I have on the site there. If people want to check that out, it's the guy talks. I mean, I'm a security guy, and he talks over my head. So
oh yeah, this is the kind of show where, like, you grab something to eat, you sit down, you get ready to listen, and give yourself about 10 minutes, and then you're thinking about like cats or something completely disrelated, because it's whatever he just talked about just went whoo right over your head, and then you really have to focus and clear up any words you don't understand as you're going along. Hit the pause button a lot on that one. But
Yeah, I've actually referred back to show notes on that one to try to catch up with what he's talking about.
Big time. It's fun though. It's a challenge to make it all the way through.
Oh, it's great.